Hi there, welcome to my demo video. In this video, I'll explain you how to use my Laravel API application which I developed for Heartpace. Using this API application, you can sign PDF documents using e-signatures. Let's go ahead and download the project from my GitHub repository. If you don't have access to my repository, you can download it as a zip file. Then you can go to the download location and extract the content within it. Since this zip file already contains a folder, I would remove the folder name. Otherwise, it would be inside two folders. After you have extracted the content, open a terminal window and change the directory to the project folder. If you are using Windows, I recommend using Git Bash for Windows. Then go to my GitHub repository and copy the docker compose up command. Paste it into the terminal and press enter. Under the hood, this docker compose up command takes care of setting up the application. If you are running the docker compose up command for the first time, it will build two Docker images, one for the MySQL service, the other one for the Laravel application. Afterwards, it will create a volume for the MySQL service. Since I have already run this project numerous times, the Docker already has the created images and volumes, and it will use those existing images and volume. After creating those images and the volume, it will create the containers and start them. Once the Docker containers has started, it will execute composer install command on your behalf and install the PHP dependencies. Then it would go ahead and migrate the database, create a certificate file for certifying the signatures, and create environment variable files. And at the end, it would run the PHP tests. This would take a little while. So I will skip this part and move on to how to use the API application. Once Docker has finalized starting the server, it will press Ctrl+C to stop the server. That means the server is up and running. Then you can go ahead, open your browser and visit the API documentation. Or else you can click the link on the documentation in GitHub repository. This is the API documentation for my application. This API has four main groups: authentication, documentation, sign a document, and then request signatures. In order to use this application, you need to create a user. So let's go ahead and create a user. You can do so using the register API endpoint. You can click on the try it out button, fill the name, email, and a password. Remember to type the password twice in the password confirmation. Afterwards, click on the send request button. Once the application has created the user, you will receive the user object in response. Then go ahead and create an access token using the login API endpoint. Enter the email address and the password of newly created user. Once the request has been successful, you will receive the access token. Copy it you will need it to upload a document. In the upload document API endpoint, enter your access token in the authorization input. Replace the string your access token with your actual access token. It should be bearer space access token. Then you can upload a document which you want to sign. Here you can see the document that I have uploaded does not have an signature, just some text. Then send the request to upload the document. Once the document has been uploaded, the application will return the document data object. Copy the document ID. You need it to send a signature request. In order to send a signature request, you need to register another user. Enter a name and email for the new user and remember the email address. Of course, you need a password. Alright, then let's go ahead and create a signature request. Since you already entered your access token in the authorization input in the previous API request, this API documentation will autofill your access token in other API requests. So you don't need to enter it again. Let's go ahead and enter the document ID, the email address which we want the signature from, and the position where we want the signature in the PDF documentation. Usually, the signature positions will automatically be set by the front-end application which will consume this API endpoint. Here in the API documentation, we will enter some manual values, page number as 1, 50 as the X and Y values. We need a deadline for the request. There is a particular date type format you need to enter. Usually this will automatically be formatted used by the front-end application. After you have entered the information, click on Send Request button. Then you can see the signature request object. Copy the ID. Now we need to log in as the second user in order to sign the request. Enter the email address of the second user and the password. Copy the access token for the second user. Then go to Sign a document and try it out button. Since the documentation is filling the access token of the first user, we need to replace it with the access token of the second user. Then you can enter the request ID and choose your signature file. The file should be in the formats of PNG or JPG or JPEG. Then click on the Send Request button. Once the document has been processed with the signature, you will receive the document object. Copy the ID, then let's go ahead and download the signed document. There is a small glitch in this API documentation. It doesn't allow you to download files. It just shows the JSON formatted responses. We will need to use Postman in order to see the processed and signed document. Let's go ahead and open Postman. Here I have created an request to download the document. I will enter the ID of the document as a URL parameter and then enter the access token for the second user. Once I have requested to download, the application will process the document and send it as a response. There you go. You can see the document has been processed with the signature. You can go ahead and download the response as a file. Let's rename the file as signed. Then you can go ahead and open the downloaded PDF and see it in your browser or any PDF reader. This is the signed document and this is the original document. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you will try my API endpoint and be inspired from it. Thank you. Bye.